Communication, language. We take these things for granted, but have you ever thought about how important they really are? When you think about language and communication, you probably think about humans, but animals communicate in so many different ways too. What do they talk about, and how? Do they understand each other? We know that animals can communicate, but what if there was a whole different world, a whole different language we didn't know about? Are animals secretly talking about us behind our back? So far, researchers say this isn't true, but it's interesting to think about. Before we get too far in depth, let's talk about what communication really is. Communication is the essence of life. We use it to talk to our friends, to buy groceries, and to learn at school. Even laughing is part of nonverbal communication, because it helps show how you are feeling. Whether it be verbal or nonverbal, it is an important part of your day-to-day activities. Just like humans, animals also have a language, a form of communication, but it doesn't have a specific pattern or set rules it has to follow. Specific sounds don't mean specific words, but instead help show a bigger meaning. If you separate a human from its kind, it won't learn language. Instead, it will resort to sounds and hand motions as its way of communicating. On the other hand, if you separate an animal from its kind, it will be able to talk to other animals through instinct. Now that you know that, you may be wondering what animals talk about. They warn each other of danger and of their surroundings. Some birds have special warning calls, telling whether the predator is coming from the ground or from the sky. Other animals, such as bees, communicate about where food is located. Just like humans, animals also have a dialect. Blue whales, for example, produce different pitches and tones based on where they're from. Other animals, such as dogs and cats, can also communicate to one another. Some dogs have been around cats since a young age, so they know how to greet a cat and how to tell what they're feeling. Other animals, such as Madagascan spiny-tailed iguanas, have learned what a Madagascan paradise flycatcher's warning call sounds like. It helps them know when danger is around. Besides other animals, animals can also talk to humans. If you have a pet, you probably know that animals, such as dogs and cats, can understand simple words, such as treat and sit. They can communicate when they're happy or when they need to go to the bathroom. A big factor in this is tone. If you say thanks with a happier tone, it means you're grateful for something, but saying thanks with an aggravated tone is taken sarcastically. The same thing goes for animals. If you tell your dog they did a good job with a harsh tone, they will slouch and be ashamed. But if you tell your dog they did something bad in a positive tone, they will wag their tail and be proud. Rather than recognizing each word, animals recognize the tone and match it to a meaning. Now that we know that they can understand us, can we understand them? Well, a group of researchers in a small Scandinavian research lab have recently developed a product called the No More Woof. This device will process a dog's brain and change its thoughts to basic human language. This is the closest thing that we have to talking to animals. Soon, we'll be able to talk through them through technology. Just think about it. You'll know exactly what your pet wants and how they're feeling. It's still in the prototype stage, but animals are hoping it will soon be available for public use. Language is not only in humans, but also in animals. They all talk together in their own intricate ways. Scientists and researchers have been long trying to figure out what they talk about, what they say. They all have their own forms of communication set in place since birth. If only we knew exactly how they did it, then we could talk to them too.